Welcome back to Jan Markell's Understanding the Times. Here's Jan Markell.
Welcome to part 2 of this particular hour. We're going to return just a moment here talking to my guest, Carl Teichrib. Just want to say that we do offer CD subscription to Understanding the Times Radio. Contact my office, won't you? Sometimes the best time is Monday through Friday, Central Time business hours. It's 763-493-3010, 763-493-3010. And you'd like to contact me by mail, it's Jan Markell, Olive Tree Ministries. That's Box 1452, Box 1452, Maple Grove, Minnesota, 55311. Are we on Facebook? Of course. Anybody who's living and breathing must be on Facebook. That's the way I understand it. Jan Markell's Olive Tree Ministries. Now, let me just sort of reset the stage from the first half hour of the program. I'm talking to Carl Teichrib about a subject matter known as transhumanism, and it's simply, well, the dollars behind this are extensive, and it's hardly just a passing fad. So this is here to stay. What is it? Transhumanism, let's just take the U.S. Department of Defense. I used this illustration first half of the hour. Even NASA. The reason they're on board, because they are looking for, particularly the Department of Defense, the perfect soldier. Superhuman, yet human. And so they are all into the blending of technology with mankind to get the perfect human being. And that is what this transhumanism is all about. We've been talking about it. There are great big dollars behind this. It's very well financed. And we've given some illustrations. And Carl Teichrib, you were telling me here during the break that one particular institution really in favor of all of this is Hollywood. Why so?
Hollywood is certainly fascinated with this idea. And there's been lots of movies that have come out in the past where it shows a technologically superior world that is in 1984 style, or is as a fascist type of totalitarian dictatorship style. They've also had movies that have come out that have portrayed the technology and the idea of a transhuman, post-human in a more favorable light. And there's been lots of movies in between. I'll give you just a few examples.
Sure.
Splice. Last year, the movie Splice came out, and it's the story of genetic scientists mixing and matching genes and creating somebody who's not quite human, and actually at the end almost becomes demonic-like. Other movies, Robin Williams' Bicentennial Man. Earlier on was Schwarzenegger's The Sixth Day. Last fall, Bruce Willis's movie Surrogates came out, which has a transhumanist element, and the big one, the granddaddy one of them all, and many of your listeners have seen this, I know it, is the movie Avatar.
Oh,
and Avatar is a
right.
transhumanist story. It's a transhumanist story in its social setting, becoming the group, moving beyond the individual. It is a transhumanist movie in its belief structure, in that it looks to change the values, the beliefs, you could even say the religion of the players who are involved, and it is technically a transhumanist movie, in that the technologies that are there enable the players to become more than human, to change and morph and become something extra special. And I know young people flock to Avatar.
Yep.
There's people who felt that at the end of the movie that their life just didn't have the same flavor and the color and the meaning that the movie Avatar displayed. We wanted to become Avatar. I think the area that your listeners really need to understand will be how our mind has to change and our beliefs and values have to change to accept this. So I'm primarily concerned in the Christian church that as we continue to move forward with this idea of transhumanism, we will also see the Christian community increasingly crumble under the guise of pluralism and interfaithism and the emergent theology. We have to integrate. That's the idea behind this all. We have to integrate our beliefs. We want to live in peace with everyone as we become a global society with a global set of ethics. And so I'm going to say this from the devil's advocate perspective, you backward Christians who have this exclusivist claim, how dare you stand in the way? If we want to move forward as a society, churches will have to really start to embrace the emergent interfaith, interspirituality side to this. And then we can start to see at least a cultural, societal acceptance of the beliefs and values that will have to come into play in order to see a post-human world come to fruition. That is so huge, and we've been playing this game already. We already are changing our minds within the church. We already are walking away from the exclusive truth claims of Jesus Christ and the biblical standard, and we are embracing a pluralistic, global ethic, global value system. That's already in play.
Well, here are the 5 short points of transhumanism, and again, that's been the topic of this hour. Number 1, premised on the belief that evolution is true. Number 2, grounded, therefore, in man's ability to shape the direction of human evolution through technology. Number 3, ultimate goal is the ascension of humanity. Man becomes God. Number 4, technical advancements, both in theory and practice, are now poised to change society. And number 5, spirituality must play a role in transhumanism. The emergence of a global set of core values based on universalism will emerge to guide religious acceptance towards ascension. Well, again, all of this is a little bit Star Trek sounding, but I think, Carl, folks may be a little bit more on the look for this when it might pop out at them, and they might not have ever seen it before. And they can learn more at your website, trueforcingchange.org.
Yes, they can. We did a special report on this particular subject last fall, and I would certainly encourage your listeners to log on, become a member of our website, download the issues, study them, pass them around, talk about them, think critically about them, look to see where these areas are already coming to play in your society. And we have a lot of other information there that will provide some of the background that's necessary to understand this in a better, fuller context.
This is very well researched information, folks, and Carl works a little bit with Gary Kah, and actually others as well as a researcher. Carl, we will be in touch. I thank you for all that you do by way of research and study, and then bring to enlightenment to all of us who wouldn't possibly go there, particularly in a topic like this. So
I appreciate the chance, the opportunity to be with you, Jan. It's been good.
All right, we'll talk again, Carl.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye now. Folks, what I want to do here is I want to stay in this genre of what is technology doing. We've kind of heard about it from Carl Teichrib in kind of an extreme, except that it's out there. You need to hear about it. And I had written something in my e-newsletter, this would be a month or 2 ago now, about when technology turns against us. And Newsmax magazine and others, including, I believe, the Washington Times, is now talking about, well, I have it in front of me, American Family Association is talking about it as well, that the Obama administration really wants to, I'll just read what they say, and the Washington Times is warning that the White House cybersecurity advisor and Commerce Secretary Gary Locke are drawing up ObamaNet, President Obama's mandate for what amounts to a national ID card for the Internet. The president wants to establish passwords for every citizen to centralize your personal information instead of logging on to, say, Facebook or one's bank using separate passwords established with each individual company or website. You will be required to use the government-issued password. Now, folks, I wouldn't be talking about this if it weren't being reported on in very respectable mainstream sources. Again, the Washington Times, the American Family Association, Newsmax magazine. Here would be the problems with this kind of an effort if it ever comes into being, and I'm sure it will, that the government will be able to track every website you visit and every keystroke you send on your home computer. that the government will be able to track every purchase you make and every deposit and withdrawal, and gain access to your electronic health care records, that the government will be able to track every blog comment you make along with every Facebook and Twitter post. And I could go on here. Another point is it's impossible for the government to make the system 100% secure. Remember WikiLeaks? Meaning criminals would need to steal only one key to unlock a vast amount of your personal and financial information. Now, we were talking just a little bit, Carl and I, about the dark side of this and that. And there is a dark side to technology. There is a wonderful side to technology that many of us appreciate. And I have covered it on air here rather extensively, so I don't want to go into it now. But the bright side of computer technology, again, would be this Stuxnet computer worm, which was apparently more effective in setting back Iran's nuclear plans till 2015 than anything else, including an airstrike. The Stuxnet computer worm complexity has stunned the computer security industry. It was certainly affiliated with a government, Israel and America, it turns out. And the worm had Iran's name on it, and specifically their nuclear computers. And it was brilliant because it burned and fried all the centrifuges by sending the computer signals that everything was okay, everything was working just fine, so the scientists could never even knew this was going on. And in the process, the nuclear attempt on the part of Iran has been set back to about 2015. So there's a bright side and there's a dark side. And again, referring to the Time Man of the Year, Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is the creator of Facebook, and this is just a communication tool that has taken the world by storm. Mark Zuckerberg is worth about $50 billion as a result of a device that helps people to communicate. People are eager to make friends, even if some of them could be suspect. It helps them feel connected and not isolated. Now, if you think back to the Iranian Revolution of just 2 years ago, what guided that revolution? It was Twitter. The Iranian youth communicated with one another via Twitter, and if untrained youth can run a revolution, admittedly unsuccessful, how could someone like the Antichrist come in and use technology against the world? And I think that's where we've been heading in our discussion this entire hour. Someone's going to come on the scene. He may be waiting in the wings. We just don't know. In the Bible, he's called the Antichrist, the man of sin, the lawless one. Where is he? We don't know. We do know that Daniel 9:27 suggests that he does come out of Europe, somehow has a relation to Europe. So technology is going to drive the final generation. And in a sense, it already is. Everything in Revelation 13 depends on technology. The electronic money system, the electronic control of the media, the electronic control of commerce, and even the electronic control of the one world religion, which we were also talking about this hour. How all of this, be it transhumanism or be it just something simple like Facebook, it's going to blend into that final generation and will be used against humanity by a man with a plan, a Mr. Fix-It, when he enters the scene to fix everything in the world that has gone amiss. Now, whether it's net neutrality, you've heard about that on this program, which is an effort to use the internet to ID all Americans, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, whether it be an all-new scheme to come down the pike to use the magic of modern-day technology to limit freedoms. I'm just simply telling you to stay on guard, folks. We may not be able to stem the tide of intrusiveness and even this ID effort. The Bible talks too much about such themes as privacy loss under the rule of Antichrist. But the end-time technological infrastructure is being put in place as I speak, and it could take weeks or it could take years for the complete implementation. it's kind of been coming